Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron IV Kaiserreich, the Ottoman Empire. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So. We're not even into 1937 yet, but that's okay. We're making some progress in Ottoman society. We're about to impose, where is it here? Some lovely quality improvements. Fantastic. So DWI has absorbed some Palestinian railroads. Fantastic. Let us balance the budget, which will hopefully... Ooh, assassination attempt. Whisper of the possible plot in the Grand Vizier started surfacing not long ago, but a breakthrough occurred in the case last week when one of the conspirators, a refugee from the Greek island of Crete, got cold feet the day before the Grand Vizier was to arrive in Izmir. Informing the police of a possible attack on the Grand Vizier, the wall of Izmir and his close friends Mustafa Kemal, General Kazım Pasha, quickly shot into action and arrested 5 of the conspirators in their hotel room. Handguns, grenades, and even a scimitar were found in the room, and all 5 were promptly detained. Shocked by the attempt on his life and by extension, so he says, the Ottoman Sultanate, or the Ottoman state, Mustafa Kemal has already ordered the arrest of dozens of costly conspirators, both high and low in the bureaucracy, and includes multiple generals, conveniently not those that support him. Without the executive powers to keep them detained, however, with no way to target parliamentarianism, protection by the Constitution from persecution, a special think tank within the OHF, Matasta quickly figured out a way to try all those who were associated with the plot, and grant the powers to the Grand Vizier necessary to mop up the remaining conspirators. Okay, so we're going to get in a new event very, very soon. The maintenance of public law and order. As a solution to the immunity of sitting representatives and to grant the executive powers necessary to thoroughly remove all possible opposition to the Grand Vizier, the maintenance of public order law has been passed in Parliament earlier today. Grant the Grand Vizier nigh unlimited power and completely silencing Parliament for as long as the nation remains in crisis, decided by the Grand Vizier. An opportunity has presented itself to the OHF to effectively eradicate all possible opposition to their designs. Many desperados, veterans, and former members of CUP have already disappeared off the grid in fear of getting dragged into complicitly concerning a plot, whilst others have already taken the cowardly way out. Khaled Ali Bey, one of those individuals who reportedly shot himself after Germande troops broke down the door of his home, whilst others such as Kara Kemal have left the capital in a hurry to escape arrest. Members of HIF aren't spared either, as ways of arrest targeting them for possible complicity, even though none of them seem to have any solid connection to the plot, is shaking up the capital. Newspapers not following the party line are shut down, military training exercises cancelled, officers temporarily put on leave, and residents of the Grand Vizier put under close guard 24/7 as paranoia, or as some see it, political opportunism, takes a hold of the nation. So we have now passed the maintenance of order and law. We can reel in the Anatolian Valiant, we can kind of reel in the Arab ones as well. And the Tribunals of Progress opened. Dubbed the Tribunals of Progress, though the special emergency measures number of tribunals have been set up in Constantine, Izmir, and Bursra to persecute all those involved in the recent plot in the Grand Vizier's life. Shared by Badali, the former lieutenant colonel of the Ottoman army and former CUP member himself, the list of men associated with the conspiracy keeps growing by the day as the megalomania and paranoia of the Grand Vizier has reached such levels. The number of his close friends and associates, such as Prince Osman Fuad, Ismet Pasha, Ali Fal Pasha, and even Chief of Staff Fezi Pasha have been calling the man to reason. Have tried calling the man to reason. Tried with a combination of charges ranging complicity in the assassination, treason to the state, abandonment of duty, and more, it seems likely that trials will be solely used as a political play to silence the opposition, then to punish those responsible for the plot against the Pasha. Okay, so we got tribunals in progress here as well. I'm guessing maybe... Okay. The military command. Although evidence of complicity is scarce for almost all of those brought before the judge, there remains a certain truth to the charges that many of them harbor sentiment to see the Pasha encounter an early demise either out of the opposition to the OHF, abandonment during the closest stage of the Feldkrieg, or because of the close association with the former CUP. Only 7 men on the list, however, are able to get caught by the Germandre, as many others disappear to part of the country or have gone into hiding in the vast hinterlands of eastern Anatolia. Unfortunately for the tribunal, this also means that those who were picked up by Germandre carry the least guilt. And although some links to the backroom meeting almost 5 years ago were found, the content of said meeting and whether or not this could be associated with the attempt seems muddy at best. So they're either all guilty. You know what? They are all guilty. Why not? They potentially maybe knew about someone else who maybe didn't like me. And I think that is, I think that's something we need to have in our minds. Okay, Tribunal Progress, the opposition leadership. Dubbed the Black Band, or the Karaket, a wordplay on a secret organization called the Caracol Society, Badr Ali has been dragged onto the stage many of the powerful figures still remaining in the CUP and its successor parties, often with close ties to the Liberal Entente. Benefiting from the occasion, however, the Aliyah's proposed also target a variety of key members of the HIF leadership whose connection to any sort of plot is hard to prove, but who could possibly have accidentally cursed the name of the Pasha in the open. Within the OHF itself, however, there's become increasingly clear that overstepping the boundaries of justice to boost political goals may lead to a split in various more moderate representatives that have started to form a clique around the close friend to Kamil, Ali Fut Pasha. Okay, you know what? Opposition leadership will only judge those with the most evidence. Also, I completely forgot, there's a war going on in Arabia, and we do actually have a division down here. Let us send you here. Okay, social victory in Russia. So I'm guessing... Okay. Tribunal progress of bureaucracy. Even though the CEP and the later OHF were able to infiltrate all ranks of the Ottoman bureaucracy, many of the higher posts remain inhabited by close associates of the Sultan. HIF appointed candidates or disloyal CEP members who distance themselves from the successor party. Now that it seems clear that Kemal is steadily marching towards the establishment of a dictatorship with himself at the helm, an opportunity presents itself to persecute those people, replace with men loyal to the Pasha. Both a massive undertaking, and one should have risked both the ire of the Sultan and the Ottoman Parliament. It may be wise over to not act rashly here and wait until the parties entrench in a stronger way. They are all guilty. This may be seen as an act of tyranny. Okay, we'll only persecute a little bit more. We did do a lot of persecution within the army, but I feel like if anything, having loyalists in the army probably gives the Pasha the best hands. I would have to imagine. So I will say that our allies in the area, Azerbaijan and Georgia, have joined the Reichspakt. I'm assuming that's because Russia's gone socialist. I'm pretty sure like no matter what, that happens like immediately. We have some militia units here. You're actually doing a force attack right now. I don't know if we can really stop Nej, to be honest. Like, I don't know if we have enough troops to even, even attempt to stop them. Yeah, ban on political parties. Using his new executive powers, the Grand Vizier's earlier today announced a temporary ban on all political parties, bar his own, until the domestic crisis is solved. Pointing out that a wide variety of unscrupulous individuals were able to escape justice, and the state needs strong cohesion in these difficult times. Pasha has ordered a closure to both HIF and all smaller regional parties until further notice. Opposition to this move has already spread throughout the entire nation, as protests in Beirut and Izmir against the tyranny of the Grand Vizier have been called, and the newspapers in the capital run far above capacity now that they can still present their own opinions without persecution. Okay, we're now a single-party single-party dictatorship. Okay, so conflict in Suleimania? Mesopotamia. I actually don't know. Is that you? Yes, it is. Look at me go. Okay. Division there will decrease. Goes down to medium. Fantastic. We are at negative 9% stability. I will say it's not great. Okay. We also have now installed a single party dictatorship. So let us reform the Ottoman language. I think that seems like a good way for us to start. Okay, and the foundation of the Belgrade Pact. I mean, that is something that we can definitely take advantage of. When they go to war with Bulgaria, we can maybe seize like 2 more provinces for ourselves. I wouldn't say no to it. Let me just put it that way. So we need a stupid amount of rifles. That's okay. We can build a stupid amount of rifles. I'm feeling pretty confident with that. Okay, anti-Bulgarian rhetoric. Fantastic. Give me that war support. 18%. Basically, might as well, honestly, be 0. Pretty sure if we went to war, we drop down to, we might drop down to, like, negative 60%, which is not good. Like, don't get, like, it's actually, like, what's the base rate now in, like, these areas? 44%? Honestly, that's way better than I was expecting. Yeah, we got a bunch of technologies as well. Ooh, all 3 techs done. It is almost 37. Let's go 37, 37, and 37. Sounds great to me. We love our industry techs here. And we still got, like, roughly, I think roughly a year or 2 until the war in the desert actually breaks out. So we've got time to kind of deal with these situations. A delegation from Sofia. You know what? I'm going to completely deny them. I think last time we played the Ottomans, whenever that was, we did have the meeting, but not this time. Okay, collapse of the Persian Gulf economy. Ports have reached the Wadi of Basra. Several of the Persian Gulf states have been hit especially hard by the economic depression in Europe, and that this has caused shockwaves in their tile social structure. Many of these states, such as Dubai, have already almost entirely dependent on the pearl fishing industry and have the European continent as their main market. With the rise of popularity and cheaper Japanese substitutes, the market received its first hit during the 20s, but the conflict between this state and the Middle European bloc ensured a steady demand for the Gulf. Now that this demand has evaporated almost overnight, the entire industry is on the brink of collapse. Fantastic. Well, Basra's going to get decreased, but everyone else is pretty pissed off at us. But we do get 50 political power, so you got to keep that in the back of your minds there. Locks to Malay. Okay, we get new folks off this. The Turkish Language Committee. Even though a wide array of languages is used by the citizens of the Ottoman Empire, early attempts to centralize the administration and to increase the oversight over local affairs have pushed Turkish more and more to the forefront, making it compulsory for all those willing to work for the government, the military, and an entry point into a variety of positions high on the social ladder. Nonetheless, the language has proven to be both hard to teach and hard to be implemented effectively in a modern society, in which telegraph lines play an important role. Consequently, it's also becoming mostly a language for the elite, with little appeal outside the Empire's core territories, as locals prefer sticking with their own languages and dialects. Arabs, the second largest group in the Empire, have especially opposed to its increasing enforcement in a variety of fields and is seen as being too forced for Turkification and discrimination. Whereas previous reformers, including even the former Minister of War, Enver Pasha, have left off, the Grand Vizier has taken a task to both reform the education system and the Turkish language itself, in what he claims as the only way for the struggling empire to catch up with the West. As the current Turkish language is based on a Perso-Arabic script, the Pasha has a wide support from the Westernizing faction, and decided that we should all swap to the Latin script, which is easier to teach. Others, however, fear that this move would be received poorly in the Mashriq, and have proposed a middle way, where in the old script we kept, but severely streamlined, as to make it more approachable for the common man. Seeing it as an opportunity to boost Ottomanism further, they envision it as a metaphorical glue keeping the empire together, and a Grand Language College is already being planned to invite intellectuals from all sides of the empire to design the language of the future. Of course, we're going to switch over to Latin script. Give me as much negative stability as you can possibly have. Let us next up reform the Malay system. Everybody's going to hate this. It's a negative 10% stability. Fantastic. Okay, the Malay system in 36. When the Malay system was founded according to the national legend in the 15th century under Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror, the idea behind it was that the Muslim citizens were governed by Islamic law, and so should Christians and other religious minorities be governed according to the laws of their own faith. It's unclear whether or not the system was actually in use before the 19th century, where Sultan Mehmed II split his non-Muslim subjects up into three distinct Malays: the Greek Orthodox, Armenian, and Jewish. Bowing under international pressure, the empire was forced to cede more and more power to these bodies after the detachment reforms in the late 19th century, as the various great powers saw it as their sworn duty to protect the various minorities in the empire. As the Malay system allowed for the plethora of special powers, such as the collection of taxes and the creation of new laws for the community, the citizens of the group became less Ottoman by the day. And as Europeans started influencing their day-to-day life more and more, effectively attempting to wrangle them away from our empire. Pressured by the outside world, he had no choice but to watch as the powers of Constantine over the Malays was reduced to practically nil. Efforts by the Young Turks to fight back against these systems and to abolish the dreaded capitulations which allowed the European subjects in the empire to be governed according to European law were only partially successful, as none of the powers were willing to give up its vast influence within our empire. At the end of the Veil Creek, however, brought a glimmer of hope for the reforms of the empire, as with the blood of hundreds of thousands of Turkish sons, the dreaded capitulations were finally abolished, as such ushering in a new era of reform in the eternal state. The Malay system has survived regardless, as indecisive politicians in the Ottoman parliament and the need for both coalitions to attract the Christian and Jewish vote have thus far thwarted any attempt at reform. I'll reform this shit. You can't stop me. Okay, expanded Tamar system. You are more population in Cyprus, and people in Cyprus hate it. Well, we get more integration. I mean, that could be okay for us. What's our other, what else do we have in here? More civilian trains. I don't need that. You know what? No, don't do this. I need political power for probably something else at some point. I don't know what yet, but certainly for something. So the war in the Belgrade Pact, it should be starting fairly soon, I would have to imagine. Social Republic of Iran has seized Hagman Island. I believe that's... I think it's this island here. Although Hagman Island, just off the Persian coast on paper, belongs to the Persian state, the island has been facto ruled by Sheikh Ahmed Al-Bin bin Juma, father-in-law of the Sheikh of Dubai. Part of their shift in foreign policy, take a more sort of an anti-Ottoman stance. Well, thank you very much. And more unrest in Bahrain. Look, Bahrain. Okay, like, if a war... Also, like, we are losing heavily here. If a war was to break out, I can't protect you. You are a very... I mean, I guess you're not... I don't think there's, like, a... Actually, no, there's a land border. Yeah, no, I can't protect you. You're basically on your own. And unfortunately, I would say the war in Arabia is almost certainly lost. Like, we're just outnumbered vastly. Okay, Serbia's declared war. Does that mean that we can move our units in? Yes. Yes, it does. 25 days. Let's get our units in position to kind of push our way forward. I would love to seize these two areas, even though they might actually cause our stability to drop even more because we're integrating more territory into the Empire. I'm okay with that. Everyone hates this, but we do get some stability, so I'm happy with that. As of the departure of the capitulation of 1914 and the education reform abolished the minority colleges earlier during this legislation, their powers have already been severely reduced. With Russian, British, and French destruction at the end of the Weltkrieg, an end has also come to their meddling in the affairs of the Malays, who, without a powerful nation, have seen their power greatly reduced as the sole trading power in the Ottoman Empire. However, as the special taxes remain, and with growing Muslim bourgeoisie, discrimination against the non-Muslim Malays have already been seen a steady growth over the past few years, to which the government now wishes to answer. Working together with various authorities within these structures, an agreement is reached today to abolish the dual system in return for complete equality for the law for all citizens of the Ottoman Empire under the secularist protective mantle. Everyone hates it, but I do get some stability. I guess I'll take it. Like, who's going to stop me? I mean, at some point, everyone's going to revolt against us, but that is just what it is. And we're just going to send you over to Blue. You're already in, like, right next to the border. You might as well move your way in. We have 10 more days till the war actually begins. We are seeing some German and Austrian troops move on our border. But I don't know if they're going to stay here, if they're going to move their way up towards Romania. Okay. Shafir al-Hadir has passed away. Abolish the Meccan Safarid. You know what, Medina, Mecca? We'll reduce your unrest. We're not going to worry about the territory down there. I don't want it to revolt. I know Hejaz can theoretically revolt against us. Also, negative 82% stability, baby. French ambassador lost his complaints, seeing themselves defended the Murian. Okay, France. Yeah, no one cares about you. Also, Belgium's still in the Entente. You might as well just sign your own death warrant. Like, genuinely, like, you're fucked. Like, what are you going to do about this? The answer is basically nothing. The Grand Vizier speaks! Praising the virtue and bravery of the Ottoman soldiers on the front line fighting for the honor of the Empire, the Grand Vizier has called upon Parliament to provide a unified statement to praise at the address the Sultan, congratulating him with the victories of his troops. Every down on the shared duty of the Ottoman state and its Sultan, every single one of them shares, he has subsequently requested the Parliament to be temporarily dismissed until the war is over, and that he be granted full executive powers to guide the nation during these trying times. How can one, he continues, have an issue with the exalted Sultan, and per extension his council of ministers during this crisis, and how can there be a disagreement to cause so righteous and noble? Is this for the event for when the Egyptians declare war? Answered by an ear-shattering applause from his supporters and a rise of representatives from all across the empire to outdo the other and sing in their praise for the most exalted of sultans and his loyal servants. A vote on the proposal was called at once and answered with non-unanimous support from both sides, as members of the opposition fear that raising their voice against a cause so patriotic and just may paint them as enemies of the state and traitors of their beloved Caliph. As word of the parliamentary agreement spread the streets constantly and letters of praise, the letter of praise is proclaimed to the roaring patriotic crowds gathered in front of the building. Some say as part of the organized action of the OHF. Tears spontaneously spring in the eyes of the bystanders as the excitement and enthusiasm of the people spreads to both sides of the Bosphorus. We're going to lose even more stability, but that's okay. Casualties currently 0. You love to see it. I think if I capture these cities, that's enough for us to okay, construction technology, fantastic. The implementation of the Turkish language. As the Ottoman Empire has joined the Weltkrieg and the CUP consolidated their hold on power even further, so did their plans for a Muslim Turkish, which resulted in a series of laws and decrees further promoting the new Turkish bourgeoisie to replace the old Christian one. The explicit focus on promoting the Turkish language and its users, however, caused a divide between the Arabs and Turks of the empire that previously did not exist in such a shape or form. The Arab language, a proud and even sacred language for the Islamic world, has to concede further power to the Turkish one, to the great anger of the elites across the Mashriq and the Hejaz. Remaining the sole acceptable language for a wide variety of tasks, offices, and day-to-day necessities, other languages were lifted up in status during the tenure of the OPAD. In return, greatly angering both the Turkish and internationalist movements, who saw it in a weakness and grave delay to the Westernization and modernization of the Ottoman state. One state, one language, give me that stability, baby, let's go. Let's move these units closer. We've shut down some newspapers. Well, just don't spread lies. And then we wouldn't have this issue. Now, we should get an event pretty soon to end the war. Because we basically have seized the 2 provinces we actually care for. There we go. Make the offer, end the war. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we've secured 2 provinces. 2 more states for the Empire. We lost, 1,640 men, but that's okay. Those are acceptable numbers. And a nation stands victorious atop the corpse of the Bulgarian state, successfully wresting back control over its lost territories. Throughout Western Thrace, an army is hailed as heroes, and the son of Osman himself, as Constantine has triumphed as Mustafa Kemal is supreme. From his actions in the Italian-Ottoman War, to his valiant defense of Gallipoli, to his role in closing stage of the Vil Creek, there can be no more doubt of his skill and patriotism. Although not originally envisioning a campaign into the Balkans in his designs for the nation, the reconquest of old sons of Osman have made him nigh untouchable within the Ottoman political sphere. All eyes are on him, Gazi Mustafa Kemal Pasha, now as all opposition tries to garner what support it has to prevent this man from disabling them indefinitely. Well. But I think with the capture of those territories, this is going to be a good time for us to end off for today. So if you've enjoyed, my thumbs up. Not enjoying, click thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.